Here on KCWI, very honored to have a special guest with us this morning from Wells Fargo. We have Brad Blackwell, who is here to have a very big announcement.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Wonderful.
Well, over at the Veterans Memorial Center today, Wells Fargo will be announcing its support for tripling Hispanic wealth over the course of the next decade. And an organization called the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, that's called NAHREP.
Sure, NAHREP.
Has developed a blueprint for tripling Hispanic wealth because Hispanics lost a tremendous amount of their wealth through the last recession. And it's not all back yet. And they've said it's time for us to do something about that. And they laid out a blueprint to do so over the course of the next decade through increasing home ownership, increasing the success of small businesses, and increasing the savings in vehicles like 401ks and stocks and bonds and those types of things. So Wells Fargo is going to announce our support for that plan today.
It sounds like you're putting up quite a bit of dollars behind this too. A lot of money backing mortgages. This number, $125 billion in new mortgages, is that right?
Yes, Wells Fargo Home Mortgage is planning on lending $125 billion for Hispanics to buy homes over the course of the next decade.
Wow.
That's our part to help with the home ownership aspect. Hispanics only own homes at about 46% of U.S. households. Now that's compared to whites that are in the mid-70s.
Wow.
And so NAHREP would like to see that go to 50%, and we think we can help by increasing our support for the Hispanic community and lending $125 billion over the course of the next decade.
Why does Wells Fargo want to do this? Why do they want to be such a big chunk of what's going on?
Well, first, for Wells Fargo, it's a great business opportunity. Hispanics are one of the largest growing segments in America today, and a very large population. In fact, Hispanics outnumber whites in California, is coming close to that in Texas, and will continue to grow. This is a community that if we can increase the wealth of Hispanics in America, it's great for all Americans because it helps the economy more broadly.
You know, and it's not just the mortgages. You're also talking about $10 million to support financial education and counseling. Why don't you talk about that?
Yes, we are. Well, sustainable home ownership is what's important. It's not important just to get people into homes. It's important to make sure people can get into homes and stay in them, that they're buying a home that they can afford. And so Wells Fargo is planning to commit $10 million over the course of the next decade to increase counseling, homeownership counseling, and financial education for Hispanics in the next decade.
You know, I was doing digging around about NAHREP as well. You mentioned a 50% greater increased rate of Hispanic homeownership, but also they're looking at increasing first-year business success in Hispanics as well, along with a 25% increase in owning non-cash financial assets. And you mentioned stocks, bonds, 401k. So it's a whole package. It's not just home ownership.
It's a whole package. Home ownership is one aspect, and of course, home ownership is important. When people own homes, they tend to be more successful. Communities tend to thrive. But Hispanics also have a tendency to, a greater propensity to own small businesses. And NAHREP is believing that if we can increase the success of those small businesses, obviously we increase wealth. And then they tend to under-index when it comes to owning non-cash assets like stocks, bonds, and make sure, of course, you've got a retirement plan.
Yeah, and before we go, I just wanted to mention, too, you're also talking about Wells Fargo supporting Hispanic scholarship funds. You've given over $3.6 million in scholarships.
Yes, scholarships because education is important, and of course, Wells Fargo Small Business Group is doing a tremendous amount in making sure that we're doing our part to help small businesses' success. So,
if we have some people out there that are watching and listening this morning and are excited about what they're hearing, what's their next step? Do they just run to Wells Fargo and say, sign me up, or how do they make this happen?
Well, regardless of who you are, I think it's very important to know that home ownership is important. Now is a great time to buy a home. Interest rates are still very, very low, and so I would come on into Wells Fargo and we'll take care of you.
And the big announcement's happening later on today.
Big announcement's happening today at 9:30. We'll be making this announcement at Veterans Memorial Hall in front of about 700 or 800 of Wells Fargo's team members. And then we're going to do a performance. A gentleman from NAHREP named Jerry Asensio will be doing a one-man performance called 53 Million and One about his story, the 53 million Hispanics in America, and his story about coming to America and creating success.
Wow.
Brad Blackwell, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Congratulations on being a part of a huge announcement being made later on today with Wells Fargo.
Thank you very
so
much.
much. Great day. I'll be right back. We're talking cars with